Okay, Assalamu alaikum and good evening, good afternoon, good morning. So thank you so much for joining us today on this, the first global forum on youth and sustainability. So this forum is being organized jointly in collaboration between Gaza University Global Ambassadors of Sustainability, University Hussein on Malaysia, Institute Technology Sumatra, Global Climate Pledge, Policy Times, DRB.
Okay, a connection problem. Okay, we will wait for a moment. Okay, I think we should wait two moderators here, Dr. Wissam and Dr. Akram. And welcome for all participants, more than 100 now.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. Yeah.
Good morning, everyone.
Good afternoon, and good evening.
Okay, I think we should wait for the moderators. We have two moderators, Dr. Wissam and Dr. Akram. So good morning, good afternoon for all people. Yeah, Wissam join again. Okay. And yeah, please, Dr. Wissam.
Okay, I'm sorry again, just disconnected. So it's something which is normal over here. I'm sorry. So welcome again to this Global Forum on Youth and Sustainability. And as I mentioned, this forum is being organized jointly in collaboration with several institutes, which is already like having an ongoing collaboration. So without further ado, I'm inviting here Dr. Achib Burkan from Institute Technology Sumatra for his opening remarks. Please, Dr. Achib.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Wissam. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Dear all, it's a great honor for us. We meet in this meeting. Yeah, we call it the first global forum on youth and sustainability. So many participants from all world. Yeah, I think so many people here, more than 100. And I heard from Dr. Wessam, actually this community coming from more than 80 countries. And this is a good opportunity for us to talk about sustainability. Yeah, especially it's related to our future. And for youth or young generation, actually about your future. Maybe you can enjoy these SDGs, yeah, for your generation, not my generation. So I hope, I wish all of you talk actively about this issue. SDGs is a big issue, and this is our global problem to solve about this one. So I hope in this meeting, especially the young generation, this is your future. You should be part of solution. I mean, you should contribute actively, make a good contribution to design your future. Not only you hope your our generation design your future. So I think you should be a part of contribution for designing your future. And we have guidelines to design your future. One of this global issue is SDGs. So that's why we have 17 SDGs, so many issues about sustainability. You can contribute one of the sustainability, or maybe you can contribute more. But basically, you part of this issue. So that's why, and this is very close with your problem. I think it's a good opportunity for us to discuss about this one. And of course, we want to know your voice for the young generation. What is about the future? Because you will be part of this one, and maybe you still have a longer age, so you can enjoy at the time your dream come true for this SDGs. I think that's all. And yeah, each country has each problem. I mean, our own problem. In Indonesia as well, in my country, they still have a big gap between the target and the existing situation. But we have a big optimistic about this one. As long as we can work together, I believe the target can be achieved with the all people. So I think we need your voice loudly for this one, and understand comprehensively about this issue, and push each country to make a good policy to support these SDGs. I believe if more people, more countries can make a good policy, I think the SDGs can be achieved earlier or faster. So we need your voice for this one. I think that's all. Thank you very much for all participants. I think all of you are important. So, and all of you can make a contribution, even small contribution, but the accumulation contribution will be make a big impact. And we can work together based on mutual respect. I think if we can make a mutual respect, we can achieve faster and make our world better and better. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Achib. So I'm inviting you now to listen to the opening remarks by Prof. Shahbaz Khan. He is the director of UNESCO Beijing office. So we are sharing his opening remarks now.
I wish to congratulate global ambassadors of sustainability and partner organizations for organizing this first global youth sustainability forum. And I want to appreciate the special efforts of Dr. Wissam and colleagues for being the forerunners in bringing youth in tackling with the big issues of sustainability. As we know, right now we are dealing with the dual global crisis of COVID-19 as well as climate change, which is a very big emergency. We need to provide such platforms for youth to engage and lead constructive dialogues on sustainability, creativity, heritage, and resilience. Youth development and youth engagement are cross-cutting issues in the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, where young people can play and are playing a very important role in building a better world for all, leaving no one behind. UNESCO is collaborating with the youth groups, such as the Ambassadors of Sustainability, in developing capacity, in getting the right kind of data and information for the issues like water security, environment, issues related to climate change, issues related to jobs, through our programs such as the IGGP, the International Geoscience Geopark Program, the Marine Biosphere Program, the Intergovernmental Oceanographic Commission, IOC, the Local and Indigenous Knowledge Systems Links, as well as the World Heritage Program. I invite you to read on our UNESCO website about these programs and help us strengthen what needs to be done for interdisciplinary approaches to sustainability with a focus on climate change and understanding of the environmental issues such as the biodiversity loss. UNESCO recognizes and promotes the importance of cultural knowledge and diversity by mobilizing young people as crucial drivers for social transformation and resilience to respond to biodiversity losses. Youth and young professionals are very important contributors to UNESCO programs. You can become UNESCO interns or you can become a UNESCO staff in the long term. So we are connected more than ever before. Young people can contribute to sustainability and resilience of your own communities. You can propose innovative solutions. You can drive social processes and change at the local, regional, and global levels. Dear youth leaders of today and tomorrow, you have proven that you can lead the way in sustainability and be inventive in the face of big challenges we are facing. Let us work together to find solutions together. Young people everywhere are taking ownership of their cultural identities and heritage. And my office in Beijing is working together with youth ambassadors, with the leadership of Dr. Wissam, to bring cities, creative cities together to look into tangible and intangible heritage and how can we propose sustainable, inclusive, and resilient solutions for our societies. So please do link with our programs. So in future, we can only succeed if we work together and if the older and younger generation join hands to make sure that we give due regard to gender, empowering young women as well as men, and we bring together what we need to have in terms of knowledge of sustainability, heritage conservation, building resilient societies. So UNESCO is ready to go a long way with you. So certainly today's dialogue is a wonderful dialogue. I look forward to receiving your recommendations and how UNESCO can contribute further. I invite you to participate into my office programs related to sustainability, related to creativity, and that's where a very important colleague is Dr. Wissam, who can give you more information. Have a great forum, and I look forward to meeting many of
Okay. Okay, thanks so much to Prof. Shahbaz Khan, who is always supporting us at our activities. And now I'm inviting Ms. Hadley Willman. She is the manager of the University Climate Ambassadors Program, Global Climate Pledge, United States. So the floor is yours, Ms. Hadley.
Thank you, Dr. Wissam. I am going to share my screen. And yes, as Dr. Wissam said, I am coming from the United States today, so it is 2 a.m. my time, but I'm very excited to talk with all of you. So thank you for the invitation. And today I will be talking about 2 sustainable development goals in particular, which I'll get into. Be talking within it about greenhouse gas emissions, net zero, how people and youth and the planet tie into this all together. So to get started, I wanted to discuss the concepts and the impact of emissions and net zero. So as discussed previously, emissions of greenhouse gases can affect both people and the planet. Research done by the World Health Organization shows that 1 in 9 deaths globally can be attributed to bad air quality, which is a big statistic. And additionally, this is unfortunate that there are disproportionate effects because 90% of these deaths occur in low or middle income countries where there are less resources available to combat climate change, emissions, and everything like that. Additionally, it shows that 9 out of 10 people around the world live in areas where the air quality exceeds maximum health standards. So even if you're not experiencing the most adverse health impacts, you are likely experiencing some wherever you live, 9 out of 10 of us here. Additionally, as we know, greenhouse gas emissions like carbon dioxide and methane can eat away at the ozone layer and lead to a global rise in temperatures, which is very important because with the Paris Climate Agreement, we are looking to reduce global temperature increase to less than 1.5 degrees Celsius in the next century. And if we cannot curb emissions through policy and net zero efforts, we are not going to be able to limit temperature increase. So it is one of the most pressing issues we are facing right now. For example, some great temperature increases would lead to worse environmental issues, and the greater the temperature increase, the worse factors you will experience. For example, droughts will become longer, widespread wildfires will occur, there will be decreases in agricultural yield and more, and even rising sea levels, which are expected to displace 46 million people in the next century. So all of this ties into the planet and our ability to live on it. Now, these tie in specifically to 2 sustainable development goals as laid out by the UN. The first is number 3, good health and well-being, because as we discussed, it is important to maintain air quality in the atmosphere and reduce emissions in order to protect our health. And additionally, it ties into number 13, which is to take urgent action to combat climate change and its impacts, which is what a lot of our work surrounds. When it comes to net zero emissions, it can refer to an entity of any kind, a university, a city, a school, anything like that, when they reduce their emissions in a way where there is an equal balance between emissions that enter the atmosphere and emissions that are removed from the atmosphere, in a way that there are no new pollutants entering the air. And entities around the world can try to reach net zero in many different ways. They can invest in more efficient technology or energy sources that are associated with reduced emissions. And if they are not able to fully do that on a site, they can also fund other group efforts to reduce their emissions in other ways. Additionally, just one example of how nature can help protect against the atmosphere is that trees and soil are able to store carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases on Earth. So if we're able to reforest and strengthen soil structure and biodiversity, we can help address emissions on the rise. Now, there are many efforts around the world to reach net zero emissions. And so I wanted to talk about that, different resources out there, and reports on how likely this will support us as we try to reach the Paris Climate Agreement and Sustainable Development Goals. One of the big ones is the UN Race to Zero, which, because it's from the UN, there are many people that are signing on board. There are this many cities and regions and businesses, universities, investors, and more. And with the Race to Zero, if an entity signs on, there are 4 steps to trying to reach net zero emissions. First, there's a pledge to do this by 2050, along with trying to reach targets for each decade along the way. From there, you must plan what you're going to do to reach these goals, proceed with that plan, and publish annual reports so that you can receive more resources if you're not making as much progress as you should be. Additionally, 49 countries alongside the European Union around the world have set net zero targets that are broader than the UN Race to Zero. And these countries and the European Union account for over half of global domestic greenhouse gas emissions, over half of gross domestic product, and a third of the global population, which is very significant. However, a lot of it lacks substance because only 11 of the 49 have these targets outlined in their laws, which allows them to contribute to the Paris Climate Agreement, nationally determined contributions, and such accountability measures. Additionally, there was a report done by the UN Environmental Program on whether or not these efforts will be sufficient. It was the emissions gap report published this year, which discusses whether or not we'll be able to reach net zero targets in time as laid out with the Paris Climate Agreement. This report from this year does show that these nationally determined contributions and these net zero targets will only at best reach 2.7 degrees Celsius temperature increase by mid-century, and it's only a 66% chance that we will reach that number. There's a 34% chance that we will see an even bigger temperature increase, and this is already very far away from 1.5 degrees Celsius, which is concerning. This ties into the challenges in trying to reach net zero emissions around the world. What we need to do is see more sufficient progress in trying to reach the Sustainable Development Goals, especially as it ties into air quality and temperature rise. And so I'm going to be discussing how we can move forward and what we can all do to help achieve these goals in the world around us. First, countries must strengthen their NDCs, their nationally determined contributions, and commit to net zero. So those that don't have a commitment already must make one, and the ones that already have one that have not laid them out in the law must do so as well. Additionally, even those who have set them in law or those who haven't, they must strengthen them in order to make a 66% chance of reaching 1.5 degrees Celsius or a 100% chance ideally. And that way we are able to make significant progress towards these goals. Because this raises the question, if we simply make a commitment and don't have the action to back it up, what impact will it really have? Additionally, outside of countries, there are non-governmental organizations or NGOs that need to commit to net zero because global production and consumption accounts for many emissions. And so even though there are regulations that may be put in place to force them to reduce emissions, we must all take it one step further with the organizations we work with and try to commit to net zero, not just reducing emissions. Some of the steps that can be taken, if, for example, your organization might want to commit to net zero, it's signing on to the UN Race to Zero. It involves inventorying your emissions using global reporting tools. As discussed before, you can purchase offsets. You can collaborate with others, most importantly, because collaboration is the key in our climate crisis. Inventorying greenhouse gas emissions. There are several different types of emissions that must be accounted for. And again, you can use them with reporting tools. In order to do that, you will see which emissions are coming from where, and you can see how to reduce emissions in these different categories. So different types of reported emissions are Scope 1 and Scope 2, and these account for both direct greenhouse gas emissions that occur on site from sources that are controlled or owned by an organization. Scope 2 are indirect emissions that are usually associated with energy. All of these must be accounted for in inventories. There are also Scope 3 emissions, but these do not have to be accounted for. And so as long as an organization inventories, they're able to establish a baseline and move forward in a positive and productive way. Now, going forward, the question is, how can you help? How can I help? How can we help in order to see net zero commitments being made? For the professionals that are here today, it is important to propose to your employer that you can try to commit to net zero emissions, and you can work with those in your network to do the same, and you can be an environmental leader and an example to others in your community. For the students that are here today, you can start by trying to hold your university accountable, because universities have a big impact on the world around us too, and you have an impact and you have influence by being at your school. So you can write a petition, you can talk to administration, you can try to get people to sign on and commit to net zero. Everyone, most importantly, can stay informed on global progress towards the Paris Climate Agreement. You can stay up to date with progress and news and new reports and new goals. You can learn about what your country specifically is doing with nationally determined contributions, and you can think about whether or not they are sufficient. And from there, you can try to help make change in the world around you at the following levels, which include organizations you're a part of, communities, your environmental groups, different regions, your country, and countries around the world. And so to finish, in order to see progress, it is important that we push for commitment, action, accountability, and collaboration with others. And this is the way that I believe that we will see the most change. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ms. Hadley, and thanks for staying late and joining us for these interesting remarks. So I think we move to the next speaker for today, and I'm inviting Dr. Abdullah Al-Shulaif. He is a postdoctoral fellow at University Tun Hussein on Malaysia. So the floor is yours, Dr. Abdullah.
Dr. Sam, can you see the screen?
Yes, yes, I can see it, and we can hear you.
Okay. Thank you a lot for inviting me today to be a speaker in this the first Global Youth Sustainability Forum. Actually, I'm very happy to be with you, to all from different countries. I can say good morning, good evening, and good afternoon to all, because the time is different from country to others. Okay, today I'm going to share with you just my experience and my contribution to reduce CO2 and the emission of CO2 in atmosphere. My title will be Sequestration of Atmosphere Carbon Dioxide into a Concrete Using Bacteria. We all know about the sources of CO2. There are many sources of CO2. We have the energy, which is the most contribute on increased CO2 in atmosphere. We have around 41% of the CO2 in atmosphere is because of the energy. And we have also transportation, which also the emission is 22%, which is still very high percentage. And we have industry, we have residential, and other sources of CO2. Today, I'm going to highlight about the problem and the sources of CO2. Then I will show you the different solutions that going to contribute or to reduce the CO2 from atmosphere. And what is the problem that CO2, if the increase of the concentration of CO2, which the problem that will cause due to the increase of CO2 in atmosphere. Actually, this is the sources of CO2, as we mentioned, but this increment of CO2, it will cause a different or catastrophic environmental effect. It will cause a global warming, it will cause a climate change and a change in rainfall, and will be also the rise of sea level. So all this will be a problem. It will threat the people in this world, and it will affect the life and of the on the sea or the land or in everywhere. It will affect the life of human life and animals and all the people in this world. So there are a different sources to sequestrate CO2. There are a different method to sequestrate CO2. But before I explain to you what's the method that used before to sequestrate CO2, I'd like to highlight or to show you the increment of CO2 in the last decade. We have in 1950, the increment of CO2 or the concentration of CO2 was around or between 300 to 400 ppm. But we can see the predicted of CO2, it will be increased. In 2100, it will be almost 700 ppm, which is double concentration of the CO2 in the coming 50 or 80 years. So we are in front of a serious problem. So what can we do to solve this problem? There are many ways. This is the emission of CO2. We have from energy, from industry, from transportation, from residential and other sources. How we sequestrate CO2? There are different ways. The people who work in geological sequestration, they said we can sequestrate CO2 underground, but also underground it will affect the soils. It will affect also. It's the best way to and the highest amount of CO2 can be sequestrated geologically in the geological sequestration. Also, there are another way to sequestrate CO2 under the ocean, but this one will affect the animal, to affect the life in the ocean of the fish and other what is called the mineral life of the ocean. And also there are another option, which is planting. Now we can see in Malaysia we have a new project which called Forest City. Forest City is focused on planting, how they plant a lot of trees to absorb or to sequestrate CO2. In my project, what I contribute in my project during my PhD, we try to sequestrate CO2 in concrete. How to sequestrate CO2 in concrete? We add a bacteria, a special bacteria, which is isolated from the cement, kiln dust, and we apply in the concrete to absorb CO2 and to produce calcium carbonate. As you can see here, this is the porosity of the concrete. We have a high level of porosity, especially in foam concrete. And this is a problem to the concrete, and other way. Also, we want to solve the problem of CO2 and the problem also of the porosity inside the concrete. That's why we apply bacteria in the porosity. This bacteria will produce calcium carbonate, which going to contribute to heal the porosity in the concrete and also to absorb CO2 from atmosphere. Sorry, cannot move to the second slide. Okay, as you can see here, this is the application, how we are going to apply this one. The application of the concrete, it can be in the houses, it can be in the walls. This application, there are many applications of this type of concrete. This is the mechanism, how bacteria is going to absorb CO2 from atmosphere. Actually, there are a natural carbonation. This is a concrete brick, and this is by using SEM to zoom the porosity inside the concrete. And this is the role of bacteria. Using SEM, this is the bacteria. After that, this is the cell of bacteria, how the reaction become. Actually, bacteria can produce enzyme. Two enzymes, the first enzyme is carbon anhydrase, the second is urease. These enzymes are responsible to absorb or to make a chemical reaction by the natural carbonation in a concrete and it will combine in bioconcrete in bicarbonate and integrate to absorb the CO2 in the form of calcium carbonate. This is the result, how the bacteria, this is with the bacteria bioform concrete, and this is a normal concrete. You can see the depth of CO2. The CO2 is going inside the concrete break, and compared to the foam concrete is a small depth, and you can see the difference in this one. In using the SEM, you can see this is the control. The porosity is still the same, but when we use bacteria, the bacteria start to heal using bacteria and using the CO2 from atmosphere in the form of calcium carbonate. That's why we are going to solve two problems. The first problem is the reduce CO2 from atmosphere. The second problem is to heal the porosity inside the concrete. The result also show us that the increase of calcium carbonate, as you can see here, this is with the bacteria, the first one, and the second one with the control. It can be seen the difference around 2000 intensity of XRD result. How many CO2 we can decrease? The tree here show us, the big tree show us in every year, it can be absorbed 22 kilogram per year. And we also here rise our contribution in 1 meter, in 1 meter square, 1 meter cube, we can sequestrate 2.34 kilogram of CO2 per year. Thank you a lot, and I'd like to thank you for, if you have any question, you are most welcome.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Abdullah, for the interesting sharing. And now we move to two presenters, two speakers from Gaza University, Mr. Munir Asmeri and Ahmed Al-Ustaz. They are students second year, and they want to share their views on civil engineering and sustainability. So the floor is...
Sustainability, civil engineering decision. Sustainability lies at the heart of the responsibility civil engineering. By definition, civil engineering work to improve our quality of life, but in doing so, they have a duty to sustainability generation to minimize the impact that civil engineering activities have upon the environment. Therefore, it is vital that sustainability is a core consideration of any civil project. How can the solution be provided in a way that minimums material use energy compensation, pollution, emission, waste generation, etc. The sustainable civil engineering decision model seeks to develop with the students and comprehensive awareness of sustainability and their principles that underpin sustainable design and underline them with of their engineering skills, teachers competent and knowledge to enable them to produce a project proposal that clearly the mission policy a pressure to provide engineering solution.
And now Mr. Ahmed Al-Ustaz, he will do his presentation.
Welcome. Therefore, it is vital that sustainability is a core consideration of any civil project. The three-dimensional model proceeds on the assumption that sustainability can be achieved by realization of environmental, social, and economic aims. But the three dimensions can be weighted differently. There has to be a social community and efficient economy working together and linked to the environment to create sustainable development in a three-dimensional perspective. The three dimensions should be equal and homogeneous to each other to achieve their common which and securing and improvement of economic, ecological, and social efficiency. You can differentiate between weak and strong sustainability. Within the three-dimensional model, weak sustainable is when you assume that it doesn't matter in which a dimensional model. Weak sustainable is when you assume that it doesn't matter in which dimension capital is conserved or created. In this case, it would be acceptable if natural resource run out when it is confronted with an educated amount of human capital or real capital. A strong sustainability means that natural capital is not or just very limited replaceably to human or real capital. It is comparable to a crash buried model.
Okay, thanks for Mr. Munir and Mr. Ahmed for their sharings. So now we move to the next presenters. So we have two presenters from University of Science Malaysia, Lai Yun Tung and Thin Yik Han. So the floor is yours.
Hello, guys. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
So that Ihan and I will present the innovation that have been done in my university, USM, that recently flood has become more safe and happens in a lot of places. So that we wanted to share our innovation, which already installed in our campus, so that we would like to share it. Can you see the from it? Sorry.
Are you sharing the screen?
Yes. Wait for a minute. Some technical problem. Okay. All right. Okay. Ihan, please introduce. I'll pass the floor to you.
Okay. Thank you, Junto. First of all, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Tenny Han, and currently I'm studying in University Science Malaysia Engineering Campus, and my course is civil engineering. And currently I'm a third-year student. It's my honor to be invited here to share some of my views about sustainability. About youth and sustainability. It is my great honor. I would like to thank the organizer for inviting me. All right, so okay, so today Juntung and I would like to share about one of the greatest drainage system we have in Malaysia, which is, I would say it's one of the greatest in Malaysia. This system is what we call as bioecological drainage system, or it is short form Bioecological. So okay, allow me to give some short introduction about this drainage system that we have in USN Engineering Campus. So first of all, USN Engineering Campus is located in Limong Tebal, Penang, Malaysia. It's a quite strategic place in Malaysia, as it is around three small towns within 3 states. And this campus actually was a former palm oil plantation land, and it takes around 320 acres. And one of the unique thing is this campus was designed in a way so that must have a futuristic and modern concept. And okay, and one of the environmental friendly infrastructure, which is one of the one of the concept of this campus is bioecological. As you can see here, because the drain, as you can see here, the drain is made up of soil and glass on the surface, and it was not made of concrete. We all know that the normal drain is made up of concrete, in which the water just simply flow through it in a fast way. But our own drainage system in this campus, which is bioecological, it let the water pass, permeate through the surface, through a system down there, and go through a lot of system before we pass it to a major river nearby. Okay. So basically, this slide is done, I think.
Now I will show the video how it.
I'm sorry, we have some technical issues here. Please bear with us. Because we cannot have sounds here, we can only have some we can only have image lah. Yeah.
Can you guys see it? Yeah, I think that's all for our campus drainage system. Now I will like to give my opinion about the sustainability. Like often when you think that it's an end for something, actually it's the beginning of something else. Like we just nowadays people argue that one of the main reasons of global warming is increasing of human population. But in my opinion is that human population didn't make a big effect to the global warming, while our system is the major thing that makes global warming worse, because that we doesn't have a organized and designed system for like greenhouse gases emissions. We doesn't have a policies that can help to reduce greenhouse effect emissions. Thus that my suggestion is that when in the future, because like Planet 51 is an experiment about the mice, and it put in a suitable places like 3 months or something like that, 1 year. And then they found out that the mice, the population of mice will increasing until it remains unchanged. It stated like it is our future as a human. But compared to us with mice, we actually have the ability to thinking compared to mice, so that if we change the system, how we daily life of our system, like how we produce electricity, how we manage the sewage, it really can help to reduce greenhouse gases emissions, and other than like to prevent flooding, something like that. I think that's all from me. Thank you very much. Sorry.
Okay, thank you so much for Tang and Han from University Science Malaysia. So now I am inviting Nur Sabrina bint Muhammad Rusni and Muhammad Hazim bin Hishamuddin from University Technology Mara in Selangor, Malaysia. So the floor is yours, Sabrina and Hazim.
Before that, can you see my screen, Doctor?
Yes, yes.
All right. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good day. I bid to Dr. Wisam Al-Madun and Mr. Akram Hu as our moderators, respected speakers, and my fellow friends. Before that, I would like to say sorry for not opening my camera because I am having a lagging here, so that if I open my camera, it wasn't the situation. All right, so welcome to the first Global Forum on Youth Sustainability. It is an honor for me to be here with all the experts and students around the globe. On today's forum, I would like to talk about the challenges to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. Before I proceed on to this content, let me introduce myself first. My name is Nur Sabrina binti Muhammad Rusni, and I am a mechanical engineering student at University Technology Mara Shah Alam. In this forum, I would like to explain on 3 main keys, which are: first, what is SDG? Second, the challenges to achieve SDG. And the third one, the future opportunity for global sustainability, the role of youth. All right. Moving on to our first key phrase, how can we define Sustainable Development Goals? Sustainable Development Goals, or known as SDG, are the 17 objectives that had been introduced by United Nations in 2015 and are intended to be achieved by the year 2030. The purpose of introducing these objectives is only one: to create a better future. As you can see on your screen right now, there are 17 objectives that we aim to achieve by the year 2030. However, as we can see, there are people still living in poverty, has no access to get basic education, experience gender and race discrimination, non-systematic industrial growth and infrastructures, and so much more issues pertaining in our current status quo. Hence, is it possible for us to achieve these goals as we only have 8 more years before 2030? Before we jump to any assumption, let us look to our second key phrase, the challenges to achieve sustainability development goals. According to Professor Carol Newman from the Trinity College Dublin, there are 3 main challenges to make SDG happen, which are instability, implementation, and governance. What does it mean for these 3 terms? Instability could be referred as unsure and lack of protection in several aspects, such as economy and global issues that is happening worldwide. Secondly, it's about implementation, how SDG is introduced, implemented, and urged by stakeholders. And thirdly, it's about governance. How is the relation between nations with their people to uphold and implement the SDG element in their nation development, and relation between one nation to another nation, fulfilling the needs to achieve the objectives in SDG. Therefore, it is vital to tackle these challenges to make our objectives and aims happen. But how? We can cater these problems if we reduce the systemic barriers so that everyone could get access to its basic necessities. Government in each and every nation need to prioritize the implementation and provide effective mechanisms to achieve the SDG. Law enforcement could be introduced for those who are practicing approach that violate or against the objectives in SDG. For example, government should act and compound factory owners that doesn't practice appropriate technology or initiative to manage their chemical waste produced, or any employers that violate human rights of their workers. Besides, stable and structured financial support also need to introduce green technologies and aid people with better education and healthcare so that more people could get education and improve their economic status. And even to create awareness, we can also spread awareness to people worldwide by organizing campaigns that highlight every objective in SDG. Even though many people might doubt on the effectiveness of doing campaigns to spread awareness, but let me give you an example. I bet everyone knows about H&M, a well-known clothes brand that already launched a campaign that highlight reuse, reduce, and recycle elements in their textile production. In 2019, H&M managed to collect around 29,005 tons of textiles, which is equivalent to 145 million t-shirts. This initiative reduced large numbers of waste on our landfill. Imagine if every stakeholder has the awareness to uphold the SDG and implement in their respective fields, I believe that it is not impossible to achieve SDG by the year 2030. Moving on to our last key point, which is the role of youth. As we all know, youth is the pillar of every nation, and we are responsible to make SDG achievable. Even though we have limited powers, but it is possible if we work together as one team to do the least that we can do, create awareness by optimizing the power of social media, and implement SDG elements in our daily life. It is not impossible to create a new wave of implementation SDG by applying these suggestions. Youth could also implement this SDG element in our professional field, such as proposing projects that related to any SDG elements. I do believe if we are in this together, we could create and prepare a better world to our generation. The key to success is not about how fast we achieve our goals. It's about how consistent and committed we are to achieve and sustain the goal. Maybe at the moment, we have a very slow progress in achieving SDG, but we need to remember, slow progress is also a progress. Never give up and focus on achieving our goals. That is all from me. Thank you and have a great day. I pass this floor to my member, Muhammad Hazim. The floor is yours.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Sabrina. So, can you see my slide? The tourism?
Yes, yes.
All right, thank you, the tourism. So, first of all, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. It's a very good day to all of you. So, I will share my opinion regarding the e-waste that because of our nation is maybe alright, so I start my presentation. So the first one is the e-waste. So e-waste is a broken, non-working or old electronic appliance such as a TV, PC, air conditioner, washing machine, and refrigerator. So as you know, e-waste is generally divided into two types. According to the sources, that e-waste is generated from an industrial sector and household use. So e-waste is becoming a global issue. The more electrical and electronic equipment are being produced, the more e-waste needs to be disposed and managed properly. So why should we manage e-waste properly? So the first one, for the global level, we should manage e-waste properly to avoid the global issues occur, such as global warming, ozone. So next for biodiversity, which is to avoid the destruction of nature. And the last one for the health, to prevent the chronic disease. So according to the statistics from Statista, we can see the increasing total e-waste generated from 2016 to 2019, which is from 2016. We can see China was generate 7.2 million metric tons e-waste. So when we in 2019, we can see Norway was leading the chart because they was produced about 26 million metric tons in their country. So I will show the Malaysian project for e-waste measure for 2010 to 2020. So basically, we can see the increasing of the value of metric tons. So because of the increasing of the e-waste, so we should do we will do the manage the e-waste properly. All right. So so I set the challenges to achieve the sustainable development goals. So in my opinion, regarding the challenges to achieve the sustainable development, so as Ms. Sabrina said, we are using 3 keywords that can be related with this topic, which is instability, governance, and implementation. So the first one is instability. This instability not only means for fight or war between a nation, it can also be attributed to the difference of the administrator in managing the development of a country. Here, what I can relate is the lack of initiative taken by the administration to hold a meeting with a leader of another country to discuss their problem in developing their respective country. As we know, ASEAN countries usually do the meeting. So this is a positive thing to ensure that all ASEAN countries can stand with other developed countries. In addition, I also suggest that administration in my country can meet the leader of the developed countries such as the United States of America, Germany, Japan, and others to get a new idea that can be used for the development of nation itself. So, okay. So this is a picture that shows the comparison each country by their policy and regulation. So each country have their own regulation and law. So whether we have a different regulation and law, but we have a one mission. So the next one is governance. Governance means the system used by leaders to manage the country. For example, responsible consumption production, it was 12 goal in SDG. The use of electronic devices around the world is growing rapidly and widespread. Everyone needs a phone to communicate. But are we all know the right way to dispose all these devices? If the government does not spread awareness to the public on this matter, it will the development that UNESCO hope will be achieved. So administrators need to take the initiative to spread awareness regarding the e-waste, so that our community will concern about the e-waste disposal. In Malaysia, the Department of Environment has shared a lot of information and infographic related to e-waste. This is to help the community to know more to this matter. If this matter is not taken seriously, the community will continue to be ignorant of the bad impact of health, themselves and the environment. So this is a government initiative. So you can see the government try to pursue our community to do the recycle. All right. So next, the implementation. For me, implementation is an important thing in delivering information for awareness to the community. If the government does not take this matter seriously, society will make mistakes and cause a destruction of nature towards. So when the government has spread the awareness regarding the importance of waste management, there will be the non-government and government agencies will hold a talk and activities to ensure that all community understand what is conveyed by the government. Among the activities that has been carried out by BOE is e-waste collecting day, which is the program is run every Saturday at the end of the month by collecting the available e-waste and dispose together it at licensed e-waste landfills. Apart from that, pocket talk at Mestek.
Hazem.
Yep.
Sorry, can you please conclude?
All right. So with this program and this challenge, we can ensure that community understand what the government is delivering to achieve the sustainable development goals. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for this sharing from the team, UITM team. So now I am inviting...
Hello, Dr. Wissam, I'm here. This is Isaac Adelekum.
Sorry. Sorry, because we are having the presentation. So can you please keep, if you have any question until the Q&A session. Okay, so now we are moving to the next presenter, who is Mr. Daniel Farid bin Muhammad Dawood Raja. He's from DRB Highcom University of Automotive, Malaysia. So the floor is yours, Mr. Daniel.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Wissam and everyone for making this whole online events interesting. And thank you for inviting me out. So basically, I'll be doing this ad hocly, and my opinion will be, I'll be sharing my views on the motorsports in automotive parts. Basically, for motorsports in our automotive dailies, and as we know that automotive is one of the biggest contributor to carbon emission. And I would like to say that even there is much more initiative that's been taken out by many organizations to push out so that the motorsport will be much more concerned on their carbon emission, but I would say it's not yet significant. And I guess it's safe for us to say that all these motorsport, including F1 or NASCAR or Le Mans, they are releasing a lot of carbon exhaust or gas emissions. And I would like to introduce, or I would like to recommend that we might have a few steps so that everyone would focus more on this, because we might not realize that motorsport is one of the biggest contributor to our automotive sector. Because in motorsports, we have a lot of funds to do R&D, research and development. And here comes all the invention, here comes the curse, the MGUK, MGUH, in which that we will harvest back the kinetic energy to run back the vehicles. But in our domestic car, in our commercial vehicle, we don't use these technologies yet. Why are we not using it? There are certain factors that are coming out from the manufacturers or from some other parties that might be saying that, oh, it is too heavy, it's not compatible, it is not necessary. But we might always see that actually, if we are using it in our commercial car, as how Renault do, For you guys' information, we now come up with a car which is Twizy F1, which is a road legal car and implementing some of the parts from F1, which is one of the KERS, Kinetic Energy Revolution System. And that is one of the biggest proof that any technology in motorsport is applicable in our commercial car, but yet not everyone will focus on it. And there might be not everyone will be looking at this part because not everyone of us here will be focusing too much on vehicle. We might be thinking that a car is just a transport to bring us from point A to point B. Okay, let's say point A to point B is about 1,000 kilometers. Yes, you'll be releasing a lot of carbon gas. And here come the motorsport parts. What if for youth and sustainability facts in this part itself is that even in our curriculum and in our syllabus, we are not focusing too much on reducing the carbon gases. Yes, we might have some syllabus that are saying, oh, we have to reduce carbon gases. These are our targets. Here come the Paris Accord. Here come the Kyoto Protocol. But at the end of the day, when we go out for the exams, when we ask the students about the students' outcome, what's the learning outcomes, they might be saying that, oh, we need to make an engine more powerful and more fuel efficiency. But what about the emission? Yes, we might have some emission control here and there, but is it sufficient enough? No. So the awareness among the students, among the youth itself, even in our syllabus, is not that high enough. And the only way to overcome exhaust gas emission or to reduce it only by invention. There's only two ways. Firstly, we don't use any cars or public transport, which is very, very impossible because this is a tie bond between the manufacturers and the government itself and we, the customers, the community, the society. So it's very impossible to abolish car or to only using road transport. So we end up with one option, which is innovation or invention. And innovation, it come up with a lot of ideas, as how we can see our first presenter from Dr. Abdullah. He come up with very good invention, and from other universities, very good invention. So everyone have their own views. But how can we make every youth to think on automotive and start to invent their own innovation so that we can have much, much more better innovation? You know, not just 100 people out of 1,000 people to think, how can I reduce carbon gas emission? It doesn't work that way. We should think of the way how to make, okay, there's 1,000 people, we should make these 700 people to think of how can I reduce carbon gases. Then we come up with a lot of invention, you know? And what I would like to stress on motorsports, because first of all, as I stated earlier, we have big fund for R&D. So this big fund should be utilized properly, and there should be third party who will be regulating it. As example, FIA, Federal International for Automotive. So they are regulating all these F1 races, NASCAR, IndyCar, Le Mans. Okay, even though emission issues has been pushing out, but are they really pushing it to the limits? This is the main issue. So there should be third party regulator to control all these things, not just one party. I'm not saying that this certain organization or that certain organization is corrupted. No, but for the efficient and to achieve our targeted outcomes in whatever plans, whatever event it is, there must be third parties to ensure that at least 80 to 90% of our target is met up. And my last point is that I strongly believe that from motorsport, we can develop the society more. And I would say that in motorsport wise, we might come up with one league in which that everyone should focus more on how can I reduce the carbon gases, because everyone is racing, how can I be number one? You know, in Formula One, Mercedes is racing this team and that team, how can I be number one? What about, let's come up with a race, okay, how can I be number one? And to achieve number one, you must release the least carbon gases. That's my brief ideas to every one of you. I hope my little bit sharings open up your views. And that's all from me. Thank you so much. Back to you, Dr. Wissam.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Daniel Farid. And this is an interesting sharing on your views on sustainability. So I'm inviting the next speaker, Ms. Rosalia Stimbo from Tanzania.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. For the other participants, can you please stop sharing the screen? Ms. Rosalia, can you start, please?
Yes, sure. So hello everyone. My name is Rosalia Aloise Tembo from Tanzania, an alumni student from Changjiang Christian University, located in Taiwan. So I was just studying my international program for sustainable development. It's all about sustainability. So actually going directly, it was honor and thank you so much to Tawixam for giving opportunity to share in this like first global youth sustainability, because I'm also a youth. So going directly, I would like to share like a challenges to achieve a sustainable development in a different ways. Actually I was student, and then I was just studying this program of sustainability, and I would like to say like I just have getting a lot of experience, and I would like to share with you today knowledge and experience and my views according to based on sustainability. Yes, so I would like first of all to advise like my youth to make sure that they just try for their level base to live the life, living sustainability, even though living sustainability is the new challenge with a great opportunity for all of us. So when I was a student there in Taiwan, I was just like getting the chance to participate in different community projects based on sustainability. It was a great honor, like I was not in my country, but I just also participated there to a different project that based on sustainability in order to make sure that we just come from the different places, but our aim is only to make our world a better place. So we're just having a different project. It's like rainwater harvesting and rainwater harvesting and environmental education. Some of the environmental educations were just like having a different ideas and different innovations. And then we were just sharing with the community, and then the community were just like getting something from us. But apart from that, it was good honor to see like some of the country they try for their level based to push the sustainability or to live in a sustainable way. Let's say I need to take this country that I was just studying my university as a case study as well in Taiwan. In agriculture sector, actually, I would just like to give some up for them and appreciate them, because actually they just train their level base to practice sustainable agriculture. And I have an example, and I would like also to share my knowledge. I was just doing internship among the organizations that they're just doing everything in sustainable way, starting from the way they just from seedling, and then from harvesting, cultivating, the whole process they're just using sustainable. At the end of the day, they just get some crop which is very healthy, and then they were just promoting that goal of good health and well-being, so for all of us. So it was like a very good and interesting things to learn some of the ideas and experience from there. But I'm also very happy to see here in my country, Tanzania, there are some organization, they just already initiate some of the of the projects in agriculture sector based on how they protect, how they make a world a better place. For example, there's this organization here in Tanzania called Sustainable Agriculture Tanzania. Actually, they just doing their level based, and they made several experience by involving farmers to learn a different ways of doing organic agriculture, but also they're just doing some implementation to some of the university to give them some knowledge so that they can be a good expert to other people. And then apart from that, they're all doing these things for the farmers on the planning stage to work together or challenging together in these agriculture issues. But at the end of the day, we all have one aim to to live in a sustainable way, or to make our world a very better place. And in other issues, actually, people are supposed to know that human interaction with the environment, sometimes we just interact with the environment without thinking that what will happen maybe for the 20 and 50 years ago. So people, they're just cutting down the trees. That's a very big challenge, especially for the most of African countries. Or people, they're just throwing away the plastic and or whatever. So actually, as the youth, we need to come up with with strategies like how are we going to tackle these situations. And but so when you see people like cutting down the tree, that means you're supposed to advise them, or you're supposed to tell them like, don't do that, because when you do this, you don't know what will happen for the future. So by solving these issues of cutting down of trees, that's why there's also a lot of other organizations and also us youth, we're just providing education to the community and other place, so that people, they can set up to planting trees and then to serve the environment. Yeah. So when you do this, I mean, when you just do this problem, you need to think up how to solve it. How are you going to solve that problem for the next future? Apart from how also people, they're just throwing out the plastic without knowing that the plastic they are very good reusable materials. You can just make it and you can create another things. I really like it because when I was there in Taiwan, there's different industry whereby they just take this plastic and they just made it different stuff, like different products, like they can make even the clothes. So all of this, they're just doing all of this in order to make sure that we just keep the environment safe and clean, but apart from all, we just want to serve and we make it a good way for the other generations to come. So apart from all, sometimes I really like to yes.
Can you please conclude?
All right. Yeah, so I would like to conclude by saying that living sustainability actually is the new challenge with a very good opportunity for all of us. And then the greatest threat to our planet is belief that someone else can save it, while we need to be our first priority to save it and to make a world that is very better, very good place, and for the other new generation. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Rosalia, for the interesting sharing. So now we move to the next presenter, the second last, who is from China, Seiwa Li from from Shanghai Jiatong University. So the floor is yours, Sei. Say, are you, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now it's clear.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Resam, for allowing me to speak today. So just a brief introduction about myself. My name is Seiwa Li. Let me try to go back to the previous. I'm from Shanghai Jiaotong University. Very glad to be able to be here today with everyone for the first Global Youth Sustainability Forum. I'm a PhD scholar at Shanghai Jiaotong University, China. My hometown is Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I saw there are a lot of presenters from Malaysia here today. My main research area is sustainable urban development. I publish 3 first-authored SSCI and SCIE journal articles. I reviewed over 30 manuscripts for SSCI and non-SSCI journals and received the Shanghai Jiaotong University Excellent International Postgraduate Student Award. By the way, there's a scribble on my PPT here. Can I know what is the reason? Let me go back to sharing the new one. Stop share. Okay, so the United Nations developed the Sustainable Development Goals in 2015, as we all know, including a goal for cities. Over 50% of the world's population is living in the cities today, and 68% will live in the cities by 2050. So many cities will face challenges brought about by urbanization, and there will be difficulties in accommodating the needs of the urban inhabitants and visitors due to limited resources. Therefore, it has become more and more crucial for sustainable urban development research to be done to facilitate the sustainable growth of cities worldwide. And let's move on to the next slide. These are my published research. Firstly, I'm going to talk about the first paper, a model of destination loyalty, integrating destination image and sustainable tourism. So a summary of the research, I'm going to be quick so that we can end fast. The research establishes a destination loyalty model that integrates the concept of sustainable development with destination image. It is the first to measure destination image in terms of the sustainable development dimensions. So these are the sustainable development image. And then my research has found that the image would lead to tourist satisfaction, which would in turn lead to destination loyalty. Okay. So my second research, resident sustainable city evaluation, satisfaction and loyalty, integrating importance, performance analysis, and structural equation modeling. This is an interesting research that integrates IPA and SEM to examine the effects of perceived importance and performance on resident satisfaction and loyalty. So the findings show that both methods provide powerful synergistic insights when integrated, because Q1 is the quadrant that requires the most attention, and Q2 is the target quadrant where all the factors should belong in order for resident satisfaction and loyalty to be achieved. Okay. And the third paper, an integrated importance performance analysis and modified analytic hierarchy process approach to sustainable city assessment, that was published in the Environmental Science and Pollution Research journal. So the research develops a novel modified AHP method that measures pairwise comparisons using importance scores from IPA. This is a formula that I developed in the study. Basically, you just use the importance, the bigger importance score to minus the smaller importance score, and then pass 1 divided by the number of Likert scale in the study, n minus 2 times 8. And then this is the inverse of this equation. So by doing this, you will get the pairwise comparisons. This method doesn't require you to use the 1 to 9 scale in AHP. You can just use the survey method that is easy to implement to get results similar to AHP. So the method is applied in the study to assess the relative sustainability of urban areas in the city. Conclusion, cities should develop sustainably in order to be able to meet the needs of the present and the future generations as urbanization persists. A sustainable city should have a balanced development in all aspects, be it economic, environmental, social, or cultural. The approaches and the indicators proposed in these studies can be utilized in sustainable urban development planning, implementation, and communication. So that's all. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much, Sewa Lee. And now we move to the last presenter from Nigeria. He's a Dilikon Isaac Abidun. He's from Charles Walters Society for Innovation and Research in Nigeria. So the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Can you all hear me, please? Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, it's clear.
Yeah, I stand here today to pay my dues to this academic community and to partake in an academic traditional or ritual, which over the age has been a plumb line in measuring my academic excellence, career relevance, and sustained commitment to scholarship. Though there are different interpretations and understanding of what an inaugural lecture is, it is, however, for me, a one-in-a-lifetime opportunity to publicly proclaim the success of my sojourn in the discipline of history and having attained the peak of my career as a full research scholar. So I seize this auspicious occasion to call attention to the continued relevance of sustainability and human capacity building. So my decision to share my thoughts on sustainability in this lecture is both personal and institutional. I decided to speak on this topic because of my initial fascination with sustainability. So I want to provide the connection between sustainability and HR based on my understanding of African indigenous knowledge, thoughts, and ideas. A careful study of the intellectual foundation of the Yoruba society would reveal the general attitude of the Yoruba. So I would like to share my screen now. Can you hear me, please? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, thank you. The topic of my discourse is sustainability and resiliency in organization during times of crisis, the role of HR in innovating sustainable work and HR system. Now, with few conversation and findings, I could deduce that investigation has shown how innovative investors, popularly known as social enterprises, and impact investors collaborate in emerging countries. The two organizations became popular after the global financial crisis. They purposely aim to address complex and societal challenge where traditional organizations have failed. Despite their global relevance, limited studies have explored how they collaborate. An in-depth interview with social enterprises connected to impact investors, for example, in Nigeria, has revealed they collaborate under similar goals, motivated by effective deployment of different types of resources for knowing on types of resources, defining exchange value between hybrid or sustainable organization. Sustainable organization needs strategic AR partnership to manage several sustainable questions on HR issues, like attracting and retaining the best talents, investing in employee skills on a long-term basis for workforce competency and lifelong learning, supporting employee work-life balance, building employee trust and sustainable employment relationships, creating and maintaining good quality of life for employees and communities, posited by NH 2009. As HR practitioner and researcher, I see a fruitful avenue for conversation about the role of HRM in innovating sustainable work and HR system. So now, how can HR system regenerate and renew resources to support the future of sustainable organization for competitive edge? Now, it's the time for the Africa and the European private sector to scale up its contribution to the continent's economic and social transformation. As the African and European continental free trade agreement enters into force, European and African businesses have a historic opportunity to embrace
Sorry,
sustainability.
Mr. Adelkon, can you please conclude?
Okay. Now, my conclusion is it is highly crucial that when its global multi-stakeholder network and its unparalleled thought leadership and expertise, as a matter of fact, the UN Compact is uniquely positioned to play a vital role in mobilizing the African and in collaborating with the European private sector for the SDG. I would like to express my full support for the new sustainability strategy, particularly for its focus on SME youths and women, to ensure that no one is left behind on our journey towards achieving sustainable and inclusive development in the spirit of SDG, which seek to promote economic growth, social inclusion, and environmental protection, engaging the rapidly growing youth population through jobs and opportunities must remain a central priority of African and governments as we tackle the issue of sustainable change and embark on collectively transitioning to a net zero global economy. It is important to underscore the principle of common but differentiated responsibility. For example, Nigeria looks forward to the establishment of the new Global Compact Africa Hub in Abuja next year, which will coordinate and drive the implementation of the strategy on the continent. I take this opportunity to urge all companies operating in Africa and outside Africa to seize the moment and drive ambitious SDGs action throughout their operation and supply chains guided by the 10 principles of the UN. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you. Mr. Akram, are you there? Okay, so Dr. Achib.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure. Thank you so much, Mr. Dr. Wissam. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so I think we reach to the end of the forum, to the presentation. I'm not sure if there is any comment or any question to the speakers, if they are still there. If you have any views you want to share, like we can have 1 to 2 participants before we are closing.
Good evening. I'm Teng Han. I wish to make some statement lah.
Okay.
Okay. Excuse me. So I'd like to thank the moderator for moderating this event, and I would also like to use this opportunity to thank every student all across the globe in sharing their viewpoints on sustainability. In fact, Mr. Moderator, we need to be very aware of the grave danger that our world is facing. I repeat, it is a grave danger. Right now, our temperature is still keep on rising, and we still haven't seen the trend getting down yet. So I'd like to ask everyone here, all across the globe, all across the world, to do what we can as youth to push forward green measures, to push forward green sustainability methods, so that we can make sure we can reverse this trend. Okay, and yeah, basically that's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, Dr. Wissam, I have a comment, sir.
Yeah, can you please be quick? Yeah, please quickly.
Okay, thank you. Holistically, from an holistic perspective, I strongly believe and I'm absolutely confident that there should be a concerned citizen, passionate individuals who won't hide a finger and debate issues of general concerns with sentiment will and must disagree, which diversification of knowledge to agree with workable ideas, initiative, strategies, and logic to make life better. So as intelligent people must. But one thing we must meticulously prioritize is our focus and aim of coming together in the first place.
Okay, Mr. Adilkan, sorry.
Humanity.
Let's give the opportunity to
and correctness.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Adilkan.
Good life.
So, is there any other participant want to have a question or want to share views before we do the closing, please?
Yeah, let me just say something, sir.
Okay, just direct to the point, please.
Yeah, my name is Abubakar Sati from Sierra Leone. It is good we have this kind of platform to share ideas, to give out opinions. But the only thing I will tell leaders today, it is not about saying it here on social media. It is about the action that we put in place. If we are putting the action in place so that those that are not part of these social medias or social platform, we also know that, yes, this is the step that the youth of this time around have already taken. So I think that's a key aspect. Thank you.
Yeah, Dr. Usam, I would like to react to his philosophical statement. It's a fallacy, and I would love to correct such thinking. If
No, it's okay. You know, it's okay. We have another comment. So from another participant, thank you so much for both of you. So there is one hand raised here.
Yeah, good day, sir. Good day, sir.
Okay.
This is Chidubem Godfrey watching a minute, speaking from Nigeria. My question is the implementation of a wonderful program. We are talking about sustainability and all the good talk and speech we've had. How do we implement it in our various countries? Do we have a program that can effectively put what we've heard? You see, so far we hear a lot of things. We have lectures and programs, but I don't see the implementing aspect of it to engage what we have learned and to have this talk being realistic and realized in our various countries. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So I think just to respond on these last 2 points. So as we reiterate on the platforms that we created, so it's basically on building the capacities and building network among practitioner, researchers, students, academicians, from the business people, from the industry, to share views and ideas on sustainable practices. And if you are talking about actions, so that is the role of those agencies and organizations at the local level to work together, to network, and to implement ideas either through the academic institution or from the NGOs collaborating with the business people. So this platform is trying to build the capacities of people, trying to establish networks for people to exchange ideas and share knowledge. And the rest can be done by the other institution, whether we are talking about the, either local NGOs, international NGOs, or the government agencies. So I think we can conclude our session here. So thank you so much for all the speakers and the participants, and also for the co-organizers of this event, Global Climate Pledge, the scholars, volunteers, University Tun Hussein on Malaysia, Institute Technology Sumatra, Policy Times, Gaza University, DRB Highcom University Malaysia, Natuf Association in Palestine, University Science Malaysia, and definitely the main organizer, the Global Ambassadors of Sustainability. So thank you so much again for the audience and for the participants. And maybe Dr. Achib want to have some concluding remarks?
Yeah, Dr. Wisam, today we have a very wonderful discussion. And from UNESCO representative also would like, and very it's open for some recommendation. And today I saw so many wonderful voice from the young generation. I think it will be powerful if we can make it something curriculum, action plan, and some activities. I think some people are already done about this one, but I mean, it's still open as well for global networking. Yeah, for example, in my country, from the 17 SDGs point, we check our mapping for existing how many percent, for example, and how about the target for every year, yeah, for 2 or 3 years or something like that, and it make some progress for us. And I think we can collaborate among countries, because we can see some effective way to speed up something, some SDGs point. And I see so many wonderful points from graduates, and I'm proud about this one. So I think Dr. Wesam also will promote, yeah, upcoming event to make a regular or meeting or something like that, and for some action plan. I think step so many level for this one, and many program. And here also some among participant contact each other. I think it's also good, and then can make a collaboration. They give a contact or something like that. I think it's very nice and very wonderful, and keep a good motivation for this one. Thank you, Dr. Wesam.
Okay, Dr. Achib, thank you so much. So we're closing the events here.
Dr.
Thank you,
Wesam,
and we'll see you again.
is it possible we can make a photo session for all?
Yeah, can you please on the cameras if you can, so that we can have a group photo.
Yeah, I think it's
Yes,
very good for documentation. And first, maybe I check using this one. Start from this one. Okay, I will take picture. 1, 2, 3. One more, and then yes, sir. Okay. I change this one. Okay. This way. 1, 2, 1, 2, 2. And 1. This is yeah.
Okay, Dr. Achib.
Yeah, I think it's enough. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much, and we'll see you again in the future. Have a good day. Bye.
Bye.
Doctor, can I say something?
Bye.
Can I say something, Dr. Wilson? Hello, can you hear me, Dr. Wilson?
Yes, left the meeting.
Can we have the photos?
Sorry, you want to say something?
Yeah, can we have the photos taken here together?
Okay.
The group photos.
Yeah, I share here.
Thank you.
Okay. I can share it. Oh, it should be one by one. How to say? I don't know. So many picture. how to do? Yeah, or you can send email to me. or maybe Dr. Wesam will put in the website. But if you want get the picture soon, maybe you can send email to me.
Okay, thank you.